So, top 5 Thanksgiving movies, which I didn't even realize was like a thing, but which I guess it's not really. When you start researching it, you're like, wow, there's not that many.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, or it may be just like there's one scene in it,
Right.
but the movie is totally about something else.
Exactly.
It
It just
just like
takes
happens,
place during that time. Right.
yeah, happens to do that.
Yeah. I think 4 out of my 5 selections are like that. So we may just, well, I know we'll have one in common, but it may not be any others. So who wants to start this one off?
uh, who started last time?
I think I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. So my 5 is like one of those things.
Yes.
Alice's Restaurant,
Okay.
1969.
Yeah.
Based on Arlo Guthrie's song.
That's why you picked it, isn't it? I know you love that song.
Right. And it's like one of those things, there is Thanksgiving dinner in it.
Okay.
The movie is more about the draft and avoiding the draft.
Ah,
Okay.
yes.
The song is more about the Thanksgiving thing that eventually goes into the draft.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's something else you know a little bit about, right? Were you a
So,
draft dodger by definition?
but
Weren't you a draft dodger by definition back in the day?
no,
You lucked out.
I did the draft. I lucked out.
Okay.
Uh, but if I didn't know what I was going to do. Canada would have been an option. I know
Right.
that my uncle, who was a lifer in the Navy, came over one time. Very rarely did I see him. I think I can only remember ever seeing him 5 times in my life.
Okay.
And that's because he was in the Navy and mostly at sea. So he came over and he goes, so you're going to go join up and go to Nam? And I said to him, over my dead body.
Nice.
And he just gave me like one of those, looks.
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was it. There was no conversation after that whatsoever.
I imagine. That's great. Well, yeah, good that you lucked out for sure. But yeah, I guess you could have maybe fled to Canada in another alternate reality.
Yeah. So this is like, a crazy whacked out movie.
Right.
Basically, he goes to Alice's place for
Yes.
Thanksgiving dinner. The next day, they have all this garbage and they were collecting all this garbage. So they go to dump it in the dump, but the dump is closed.
Mm.
So they see it, they're driving along and now they see a place where there is garbage dumped.
Yeah.
So they decide, since there's garbage already there, dump some more garbage. So then they get a call from the police and they get arrested, and then they have to like do the thing. And then it goes into, the draft thing where he gets drafted and has to go to the draft board.
Interesting.
But
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, but yeah, it's funny. It's good.
All right. Well, mine is the opposite of that. At number 5, it's The Ice Storm.
The Ice Storm. Okay.
I don't know if you've seen it, but I think
No, I have not.
It's an Ang Lee directed movie from I think it's 1997, and it's an all-star cast. A lot of them before they were even known. The younger actors like Elijah Wood and Christina Ricci. But then the adults are Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver are the main 2 actors.
Okay.
And it takes place in the 1970s, back in the days when like key parties were a thing. And that's kind of what the movie revolves around, is just like, these people doing these horrible things to each other, but it happens to be around Thanksgiving time. And it's a real bummer of a movie, but it's one that sticks with you. Like, I think I've only seen it once, but it's one of those cautionary tales that's just like, good Lord, what a horrible movie, like what the adults are doing. And then, the kids are also kind of learning these bad patterns from the adults. And it's just horrible. So don't see it.
Okay, I won't.
Great Thanksgiving movie, though.
That's number.
Well, I knew it wouldn't make our combined list. So,
Yeah, that one definitely did not.
so what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 was, it's called The House of Yes.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, neither did I.
What? So wait, have you not seen this?
Huh? No, I admit I did not see this one.
I'm gonna have to start making some rules for you. These movies you haven't seen, you got to at least see it.
This is a very dark comedy.
Okay.
And yes, it is. It takes place in Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
Right. Marty brings his fiance to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
His sister just was like released from a psychic thing.
Okay.
And she has this fascination with Jackie Kennedy.
Okay.
So she dresses like Jackie Kennedy and all this other stuff. So she's upset at her brother for bringing this fiance because they had sexual liaisons when they were teenagers together. So like she's jealous that now she's engaged and stuff like that. So they got all this stuff going on. The biggest thing is that they had this game that they played where they used a gun to imitate the Kennedy assassination.
Oh God.
So, yeah, so he does it with her brother, right?
Yeah.
So they do this, right? His girlfriend, while they're doing this with a brother, she sees what they're doing. She has a sexual liaison with somebody else that says he's got a brain tumor and he's a virgin. Okay. So they have a sexual encounter. Right? And then at the end, Marty wants to leave, and his sister's like upset that he wants to leave because of all this stuff going on with his sister and now his fiance. So she goes, "I'll let you go if we do the Kennedy assassination thing one more time."
Interesting.
Yes, and this time the gun was loaded.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, now neither of us need to see this movie. You blew it, literally. Interesting synopsis, I gotta say. That's
yeah, I know.
You can't make that.
Since I didn't see this movie, I researched it really, really well.
Okay. Well, deserving to be on the list, I guess. But okay, so my number 4 is Scent of a Woman.
Oh, that one. I vaguely remember the movie. I remember he was blind and like he always had this guy setting up dates for him.
Yeah.
But that's all I remember from the movie.
Great. It's not one of my favorite Pacino movies. It is one of his great performances, and I believe it got him his first Academy Award for Best Actor. But yeah, it does take place around Thanksgiving holidays. The kid is supposed to essentially kind of like babysit him. Chris O'Donnell, I think, was the actor, and they go on this kind of adventure together. which becomes kind of like a buddy movie in some ways. Where he helps him with his school issue, which is like not very, it's almost over dramatic in that element. But the part that's the best part of the movie and the most memorable to me is at the Thanksgiving dinner table, where they go to his family and they're all mean to him. And his big thing throughout the movie is he always says "hooah," and there's a part where they're just all saying these horrible things about him right to his face at the dinner table, and he does a sad "hooah." Like, it's just so great.
Was he in the service or something?
Yeah.
How did he get blind?
Yes, that I believe he lost his sight like in the military. I think he was
Okay.
he was
So
supposed to be a Marine, I think.
Yeah, so they always go hoorah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
But just the way that Pacino does it is classic, man. And he has a lot of good lines in the movie.
I didn't even remember that from the movie.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, another one where Thanksgiving kind of just comes and goes in maybe 5 minutes in the movie, but yeah. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Home for the Holidays, 1995.
I don't recall this one either. Who's in this?
Holly Hunter's in it.
Okay.
Anne Bancroft, Robert Downey Jr., Steve Guttenberg.
Wow.
Yeah, good cast.
And it's a comedy, I'm guessing?
Yes, it is a comedy. Thank God it's not a dark comedy.
Yes.
But it does have some weird stuff in it.
Okay.
So Holly Hunter,
Mm-hmm.
Her daughter decides that she wants to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to have sex with her boyfriend on Thanksgiving.
I see a recurring theme here with your list.
This is another dysfunctional family.
Right.
So her brother, Robert Downey Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
brings his fiance, happens to be a male, so obviously, he's homosexual.
Okay.
And the thing was, she didn't expect him to go to the Thanksgiving, so she's on the plane. She calls from the airport, tells him she's going, to their parents for Thanksgiving. She tells him she just lost a job. She told him about her daughter.
Yeah.
So at Thanksgiving dinner, there's like all these things come up. Downey lets it out that she lost her job and all this other stuff. And so the usual banter going back and forth with the thing.
Okay.
And this one I'm not going to give away too much.
All right. Yeah, this one I'm slightly intrigued to see Downey Jr. play a gay guy. So
yeah,
I might have to check that out.
Yeah, this is a good one.
All right. Well, my number 3, I doubt this will make your list, even though I know you love this. The Last Waltz.
I was going to have that on there.
Okay.
That's like cheating.
It is really pushing it. But then again, some of these other movies we've mentioned are kind of stretching it as well. So I figured.
Not as much. I mean, the only relationship I had to Thanksgiving was that they played the thing on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And he does say to the audience, "Happy Thanksgiving, everybody." So that's.
I would not have put it that high if I'm fudging it by putting it in there. I was going to have that as number 5.
Well, yeah.
Until I found the dark comedy thing. Then I go, I got to put this one in.
You're going to be even more angry with my number 2 pick. So, but that one, it's not stretching it as much. But yeah, The Last Waltz, we've talked about this before. One of the best concert films.
I think Mark needs to weigh in on this one.
Yeah, Mark's gonna give us both a hard time because he already he messaged me about you not seeing a movie on your last list, Annie Hall. So
Yeah.
now he's gonna give you a hard time about House of Yes, and probably me about The Last Waltz. But no, The Last Waltz, one of the greatest music concert films ever, and music documentaries all in one, by the great Martin Scorsese. Yes. So, what is your number two?
My number two is probably your number one, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's not your number one?
Now,
Wow. Okay. But yeah, it is my number one. I mean, it's the only movie that is really a Thanksgiving movie. I mean, it
well, not
revolves around it.
necessarily either. It's the whole movie is about getting home
Yes.
for Thanksgiving.
Could have been any holiday, technically.
So it's all these, situations that were occurring that was stopping them from getting home for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
But
Right.
it did have a really nice Thanksgiving message at the end.
Yeah, man. Like that's one of those movies that of course I've seen it like a million times now, but it's still to like it takes that turn at the end of the movie that gets really heavy and heartfelt, and it's still kind of like gets you every time. And John Candy did a really good job with that, kind of playing it a little serious there, and Steve Martin for that matter, who's shown some dramatic flair elsewhere. But I mean, hilarious movie otherwise, throughout, just all the ridiculous things that happen to them. I mean, like when the car gets set on fire and they're just laughing at that point. It's just like one thing after another. And somehow it I think the high wire act of the movie is I can't remember who was it. John Hughes that directed it. It was, right. He makes it like seem realistic, like that all these things happen one after another. It's like you buy it. But just for the one scene where Steve Martin is just going off on that lady in the car rental place,
Oh God,
where
yeah.
he's cursing like every other word. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. They got an R rating just for that one scene, and it's worth it. Totally. So, yeah, excellent choice. And yes, it is my number one. So my number two is Hannah and Her Sisters.
Oh, you had to sneak another Woody Allen in there.
Yeah, baby. I knew you'd be pissed off. 1986, but this is one of the best Woody Allen movies, even though, as you would say, he's playing his normal neurotic self once again. But in this case, Michael Caine really leads the movie, and he plays kind of a neurotic character himself, who's having an affair with his wife's sister, played by Barbara Hershey, and another all-star cast, the three sisters. It's Mia Farrow, Barbara Hershey, and Diane Wiest, who ends up with Woody Allen's character. But yeah, I think one of the greatest strengths of Woody Allen as a writer is he writes really well for women. Diane Keaton, of course, most infamously, but I think one of those three, I think, maybe at least nominated for that movie. And Michael Caine also, I believe, was nominated for his role. He was great in it. And yep, takes place in Thanksgiving. So there you go. So what's your number one?
My number one, I saw this movie a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And to me, this was like a really excellent Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
And even in my review of the movie, I said, this is like a really good Thanksgiving movie. And I had to remember whatever. It's Pieces of April, 2003.
Okay.
Katie Holmes is like the main character in the movie, and
Oh,
she's
right.
inviting her family over for Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and she's been, estranged from her family.
Right.
So her family doesn't even want to go over there because it's like they still haven't made up. Her mother's like dying of cancer. So they make this like car trip to go there. In the meantime, she's like trying to prepare the dinner, and everything's going wrong. All of a sudden now the oven's not working and stuff like that. So she's knocking, and she lives in this apartment building. So now she's knocking on the doors and stuff, trying to get people to help her and stuff.
Yeah.
So this Chinese family that doesn't even speak English is gonna like make the turkey and stuff like that for her and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
family finally gets there, and then it's like they have this big fight. Now her family's left.
Okay.
Okay, so then she's well, now that she got all this great Thanksgiving feast, right? What's she gonna do with it, right? So she invites the Chinese family there, and they're like eating. So they're eating the Thanksgiving dinner. In the
Right.
meanwhile, like the family's going back and forth, and uh, should they go back? Should they not go back? They decide to go back. They come in with the Chinese family eating there, and then like everybody sits down, with the Chinese family. So it's like really turns out to be like a heartwarming thing at the end.
Okay, cool. And it does have Thanksgiving plays a major role in this movie,
Yes, it
obviously.
plays a definite major role, which is why I made it number one, and not, and that's why I did not make your number one,
All right.
because
Well,
it was leading up to a Thanksgiving.
I see. Well, I guess for our combined list, though, since Planes Trains was the only
It would
combined
have to be
one, it
number one.
has to be number one.
Yeah, so you were going to win either way.
Very good. Well, going by this, since that's the only one we had in common, the rest is just going to be going back and forth with our numbers going down. So number 2 would be Pieces of April. Obviously, you're number 1. Number 3 would be my number 2, which is Hannah and Her Sisters. Number 4 would be your number 3, Home for the Holidays. And number 5 would be my number 3, The Last Waltz, baby. I've made it.
That really should not be in there. But so Mark, there's a plea to Mark.
Yes.
Even though I did not see my number 4, I kicked it out because I did want to have The Last Dance in there.
You mean The Last Waltz? Yes. All right, fine. So either way, we're screwed with this list, basically. But no, I think it's a.
I know. Now I think it turned out to be a good list.
And hey, say what you will about The Last Waltz being a stretch. If you watch these, if you do like a Thanksgiving marathon with these 5, that's a killer one to start out with, man. Get you in the mood with some good rockin' music by the band.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I
All
can't
right,
complain.
so you're making good arguments.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
I'm
so
still not totally sold.
yeah. So you guys are playing it safe for the holidays, right? Just
Yeah,
kinda
we're
hanging
not
out.
going out.
Yeah,
We're staying in. We're gonna do like Zoom
yeah,
with the children and the grandkids.
that's good. Yeah. Did you have any more honorable mentions, I should ask?
No, the only other honorable mention, which really is not a movie, which is why I didn't include it in there, was a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there you go. I did think about that too, but that's really a stretch. A
Well, yeah,
15-minute
well,
cartoon.
Yeah, what is it only 15? I thought it was like
Well,
30.
with commercials taken out, probably, but
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I did not include it in there.
yeah. But yeah, that's a must-have. Even though it's
Yeah,
harder to come by those nowadays, it seems like you got to
yeah,
really find them.
yeah. I mean, there's tons of movies that really aren't Thanksgiving movies.
Yeah.
That so I
When
mean,
we get to Christmas, there will probably be something on mine that's debatable in that way as well. But
what, another Woody Allen movie?
no. I promise you this: there will be no Woody Allen movies on my Christmas list.
All right.
So
Yeah. Now, is the Christmas list going to be? Are we going to make the Christmas list that has to be?
no. So it can be it's as vague as you want it.
As
So,
vague as the band.
yeah. Yes, exactly. So, all right. Yeah, that'll be fun when we get to it. So next week we're gonna do back to the years, right? 1978.
Yes.
So we can get through the 70s. But yeah, let's read off the official list here. All right, here we go. The top 5 Thanksgiving movies of all time. At number 5, The Last Waltz. At number 4, Home for the Holidays. At number 3, Hannah and Her Sisters. At number 2, Pieces of April. And at number 1, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where it should be. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, 1978, that'll be good. I have to look back on that. I don't remember what was on my list, but I have made it already. So I'm prepared.
Okay.
But also, I wanted to mention for those of you who don't know my other channel, Johnny Radio, be on the lookout on Black Friday. The first So You Think You Know podcast will be out, where I interview musicians, artists, and all other kinds of interesting people. So, yes. Anything else that you'd like to promote yourself?
Nope.
All right. Well, good list as always. I'll maybe Zoom with you as well on Thanksgiving if we
Okay.
we can.
That would be interesting.
Yes. But all right. Well, have a great week otherwise. And love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.